All right. Hello, everyone. And I want to welcome you all to the So Free and Single with Z podcast. I am so excited to be here today for episode one. This is our very first episode of this amazing podcast. Now, I have to say this as I start that this is really for entertainment purposes only. Okay. So let me tell you why I'm saying that. Because no one on this show is a professional. I'm not a professional love therapist. None of my guests are professional love therapists or anything like that. We are here to just talk about this single life and this journey. And I will tell you, it is a journey. So I've been divorced for about 10 years. And along with being divorced for about 10 years, I have been single for at least the last 2 years. So I've had a lot of different journeys that I've gone through, but it's been great in the essence of just allowing me to be able to discover who I am and learn a lot more about me. So I love to share my stories. I believe in being really transparent because I love to share my stories because it really a lot of times you think you're out there by yourself. And that was a big part of me creating this podcast for we're not by ourselves, y'all. Like we other people are dealing with the same things that we're dealing with. So I'm excited about this. So during this time, we want you to engage. So get on that link, get in the chat, talk to us, talk back to us. Let us know that you're there. If you have questions, comments, please jump in there. It is going to be a great time, and I'm really excited about what we are about to do. So I always want to start off my show with a couple of different things. First, I want to start off with a little known or interesting fact about dating. So the first one that I'm starting off with is a fact that I read, and I thought it seems very simple, but just something that I wanted to share with you all. So the fact says this: the most common time for breakups is between 3 to 5 months. All right. So when I read that, I just started to think about that in my mind. Like, what happens during that 3 to 5 months? So, of course, leading up to that, you're getting to know someone. You've gone on several dates, hopefully, and you've gotten to know a little bit about who they are. They've shown you some things. But if they are truly given that representative, which I think we all have a smidge of that, one way or the other, whether you're trying to be your true authentic self or not, we still put on our best for someone. But at that 3 to 5 month mark is kind of when that representative gets tired. Okay, they kind of retire and they're ready to. They just want to go back to being themselves. So I can see in that 3 to 5 month mark. Yeah, at that point you're like, okay, wait, I'm starting to see some things. Are you moving differently? You moving funny, okay? And that's when things I can see start to fall apart. So I can agree that that fact makes sense. That yeah, people start to fall apart right about that time. So, which is a good segue into what we're going to talk about today. All right. So, today's topic has to do with being catfished. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, many of you all have seen the show, the reality show Catfish out there with, I think it's Liam and Neve. I think that's their names, or I may have it all messed up. But, but it's a show that talks about people who have gotten to know each other, particularly online, and that person is not who they say they are. So now you've all who've watched the show before have seen it, and you're like, some of the stories, you're like, wait a minute now, I just know they didn't fall for that. That was just crazy. But other times, like, there's like consistency and it seems legitimate, and then then people get involved and they're like, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted, and they're saying all the right things. But this happens a lot, and it happens more than you know. for some, that are willing to get on television and get this figured out, yeah, you see their stories. Again, some a little wild and others just whatever they are. But then there's also those who silently deal with this or silently feel embarrassed that this happened to them or silently go through the hurt or the pain or the recovery from something that's just cruel. Catfishing somebody is cruel, y'all. So I'm going to bring on a guest today and we're going to talk about their experiences. So if you all, I want you all to join me as I bring on Danielle. Hi, Danielle. Hi,
Hi,
how are you doing today?
I am doing good. How are you?
I'm amazing. Well, I'm so glad that you can join us today. So
Happy
let's
to be
start off.
here.
Thank you. Well, first and foremost, can you tell the people a little bit about you? Who are you?
Sure. Hi, I am Danielle, actually Moss, but Murphy is my maiden name. And I am actually, I've been divorced for 3 years. And so, even though I haven't changed my name legally, I still kind of use my other name too. So you might have seen me as Moss or Murphy, but I am a high school English teacher. I am a mother of two kids, a 7 and a 10-year-old, and just out here living life and, just being a single mom and having fun.
All right. Yes, out here in these single streets. All right. I understand how that is. So, we're going to start today with just talking first and foremost um, about this whole catfish thing because that's wild, right? Um,
Yes.
so, why don't you start share with the people an experience you had with being catfish?
Sure. So I honestly grew up. So I'm in like that. I was born in 1985. So I'm in that weird, like, I don't know, faction or like whatever you want to call it, to where we had cell phones and we also didn't have cell phones. We had internet, but we also didn't have internet. So it's
Right.
like I'm right there on that borderline where, so I'm like comfortable with the internet and also I didn't need it. And so I used to go on Instant Messenger a lot when I was younger. And I was completely fine with that. Like I made new friends that way, even back in college when it wasn't cool. So I have never really shied away from online, meeting people online, connecting online. I've never shied away from that. However, what I have learned in these recent years is that it is so very easy to lie and to create
Mm,
a whole persona that doesn't exist. It's very easy to say that you're someone that you're not. Even if you're using a real picture, even if that's actually you, you might not be living the life that you say that you're living. So I would say there's two situations I would say. One, I met up with someone for ice cream. I figure that's innocent enough, right? It's like
right.
we met on Facebook dating, right? Okay, Facebook dating, it has its hits and misses. And I'm like, okay, let's meet. So his profile said 6'2".
Okay.
So we get to the place probably about 5'9 1/4". I'm gonna be nice
Okay.
with that quarter. So I'm like, okay, so you lied about your height.
Okay.
Hmm, mm.
How tall are you,
So then
Danielle?
I'm 5'3".
Okay.
So
So
five
you
nine's
can
not
tell,
bad.
but you can
Yeah.
tell the
But
difference.
it's like, and we're a little too, like, if I got a heel on, we like, I don't know. I
Right,
don't know.
right,
I don't like to height shame. I don't like to height shame.
right, right.
But you
Don't
did
lie.
say one thing. And so I basically enjoyed the ice cream and everything, but there was also another kind of issue of like, I don't know, there was something going on. It just wasn't right. It didn't
Okay.
seem like you were the person I had been talking to. So I just went ahead and enjoyed the ice cream. And then when I got in the car, I was just kind of like, thank you. So nice to meet you, but this wasn't exactly what I was looking for. So, no harm, no foul. And he was really nice about it. He's just
Okay,
like, no, I
good.
completely understand. Yeah. But I've had a much worse horror experience
Oh yeah,
where
let's hear the you want the
I
tea. Yeah.
I
So
was
let me sip
talking
my wine.
to,
Let me sip my wine to this one.
oh yes, girl, get a sip, girl. So I was talking to someone for about a year who was married the entire time, and I had no idea. For
Oh
one calendar year, I
no.
had
Oh
no
my
idea that
God.
we were married. And
Oh
I
my
would say
God.
that's probably the worst experience because I had really thought, like when I tell you we clicked, we clicked. And we didn't
Wow.
even meet the traditional way. We met on Twitter. So it wasn't even
Okay.
a dating app or anything, right?
Okay.
We kept commenting on the same things and we're like, we like a lot of the same stuff and we keep like
Right.
seeing each other like, who are you? What's up? Like, and so that evolved and everything. And um I mean, I had no idea. I even went there. They lived in another state. I went there. I
Oh my
visited.
gosh.
And here's the thing, guys. Here's what the catfish part, what I'm saying, where even if you're really that person, there can
Mhm.
be things. So the second day that I was there, so they picked me up from the airport.
Wait, you
And the
say
second day
they,
I
not
was
you.
there, oh, I should say he. Sorry,
Okay,
he.
I was about to say, wait, we have a lot of audacity if we brought
No,
wifey
no,
to
no.
the airport. Okay, okay, I had to clear that up.
No, 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 no. So yeah, so it's
Okay,
just he, right? Okay. So he
yeah,
picks me up and like we go out to dinner. We went dancing. We just
okay,
had us a night, child. We had a little went to the bar. I mean, we had a night, okay?
okay.
And the next day, radio silent.
Oh,
Now here I am in a city I don't live in,
mm-hmm.
a city I don't know anyone.
Okay,
And I'm going So I'm texting, I'm calling, not getting anything. So I'm like, well, this is weird. So I'm
right,
like, well, shoot, I'm in a city. Look, I'm not going to sit in no hotel. So I
right,
went and did my own thing, right? I'm sure you can relate to that, right?
right,
You probably would
absolutely.
want to go and have you some fun, go
Oh,
shopping, do
always.
something. Okay.
Yes.
So the whole day goes by and I'm getting my little dinner and I get, oh, so sorry. My ex stuck me with the kids today. Da, da, da. Da." And I'm going, hmm, I don't know if I should even respond to this text because you have not spoken to me all day. So,
Right.
long story short, later on, once I found out everything, his wife's friend had saw us out the night before.
Oh no.
When I tell you, you could have got me killed. People are crazy. Like,
Right.
what the heck? So
Oh my.
that's why he went radio silent on me because she was pissed at him and like he had to fix it, I guess. But do you know
Right.
that was not the end because I didn't find out right then. So it still went on for like 6 more months after that because I didn't
Oh
know.
my
I didn't find
gosh.
this out till way later. So
Wow.
married, two kids, and I did know about the two kids, but
Oh,
totally married, all of that. So that's another type of catfishing that some people don't call catfishing if you are the person in the picture, but like literally making up a whole persona, and I still count that as catfishing.
absolutely. Okay.
Yeah,
So let me we got to rewind here. So let's take it back here. So now you in hindsight,
hmm,
were there any signs in the beginning that this was happening to you? That he had a
there
whole
sure
other
were.
life?
There sure, and sometimes we ignore signs, but I think in a situation like this, it's not so much as an ignoring of signs as it is that you want to give somebody a chance, right?
Right.
So I think that it's really important to, when you're in that newness and you really like somebody, you're like, you know what, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. So
Right.
basically, I am so sorry.
Oh,
Okay, bye.
hey.
I'm so sorry.
That's
That's
fine.
my son. So sorry, guys.
Okay.
Okay, no, go bye, 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 bye. So sorry. So anyway, the sign that I ignored, I'm so sorry. This single mom life, guys.
Right,
Okay,
exactly.
the sign. The sign, it's unpredictable, guys. It's unpredictable.
Oh
The sign that
wow.
I ignored was that he would never FaceTime me unless he was in the car.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
that would is not something that normal people would look at as a red flag. But if you have met someone online and you're in like an online relationship, that is a red flag because they're only FaceTiming you in the car. So that
Right.
means you're not seeing their home, you're not seeing, where they live. And it's not even that you FaceTime people to see their home because you don't,
Right.
but
Absolutely.
little things like that you don't think about. So at the time, I didn't think anything of that. I didn't think because I'm like,
Wow.
you're on your way home. He has a commute. He
Right.
would
Tell
FaceTime
him
me on the
time.
commute.
Yeah.
It didn't think, but like you said, hindsight.
Hindsight. Absolutely.
So I'm
Absolutely.
like, yeah.
Wow.
So
So
that was definitely one of the big ones.
so he's FaceTiming you in the car. And granted, because you know, when if you're FaceTiming somebody at home, they're typically not on guard. So, that
Right.
picture, that wedding picture might be in the background, or like just happened when the kids may run by and be like, Mama said,
Yep.
I'm gonna
Get
stay
in
in
here.
your
Yeah.
room. Right.
Yeah.
So he's doing it in the car where he knows, wow, okay. So
There were some
so
others too, but yeah.
okay, what were some other signs?
So as I said, this went on for a long time. So I read something. So the reason why I went to visit when I did, because I went to visit maybe like 2 months in. And the
Okay.
reason why is because I read this article one time that was like tips for online dating. And one of the tips for online dating is that meet as soon as possible. So
Right.
it's like it's cool that you met online and stuff, but don't keep it there because
Right.
that's more likely you'll have a more likely chance of it being a situation like this. But it was a very far state away from where I live. So I was like, you know what? Okay. But one of the other signs as well was that he had planned to visit here twice. So I had went to visit and then he had said he was coming. And both times he canceled at the last minute. Oh,
Oh,
work called me. Da, 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 da. Oh, work. Da, 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 da. And it's like, okay, you're a businessman. You have work that can happen, right? But
right.
it's kind of like you start to
Hmm.
be like, now wait a minute. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's another sign that maybe people may or may not think anything of. And again, that one is more of like a long distance type of sign. But again, like I said, even if you're in the same city, try to meet up. Even if you like meet on Hinge, meet on Facebook dating, be like, hey,
Right.
let's go grab some coffee. Like I did with the ice cream guy. Like, let's,
Exactly. And it told
get
right
off the
away.
internet.
Wow. So I I'm just thinking about this now. So he's going on so he knew you were coming in town.
Hmm.
And
This
so
was not a surprise.
this was not a surprise. And he took you somewhere in plain sight that her friend
Unbeknownst to me.
right, exactly. Because you're like, okay, this is Bay. We're out here. We're in the streets. Wow. And so her friend saw and went back, of course, because that's what we would do. We were going back.
Listen, I ain't even
Right.
mad. Look, I'd have
Right.
done the same thing if it was my friend.
Exactly. Like, girl, hey, did your husband have a business meeting because he was out with this chick? I get that. So now you find out. I want to know now how did you find out, and what was the climactic situation that happened?
When I tell you, I I don't even know how I like recovered because it really hit me hard because I just wasn't expecting it. And
Yeah.
basically the climactic thing was the second time that the trip was canceled. So the second time he was supposed to come visit me, that got canceled, I basically went off. Not like a went off, but I basically was just like, okay, well, you canceled the last time, you canceled this time. So when are you coming? And basically, I was being real adamant about like, I need a date, like, I need another date, like, and it almost was like it got to him, like, it almost was too much. Like, he just was kind of like, he was just going to blow it off again. But I wasn't accepting that because this was the second time. So now I'm not accepting you blowing it off. And he basically got really mad and was like, you know what? I don't even know if I'm ever going to be able to visit there anyway. And then we get into an argument, and then I get a text that was like, this isn't working for me. So nice knowing you, and just like that. And I'm like, this isn't working for me. Nice to know you. So
Right.
of course I don't take that. I don't take that as like a okay, bye. Like no, because at this point it's been like a year, and he was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired of just pretending like I have to do this and this. Okay, I still live at home with my wife, and and I was like,
Oh, wait. Okay. So pause there for us because I got to hear the rest of this. And we're going to take a quick commercial break. And because, woo, this has got juicy. All right. All right, we are back. Okay, so I want to recap so everyone knows where we are. So today's topic we are talking about is catfishing, being we're fishing in a fake pond here. So our guest today, Danielle, is sharing with us how she was in a relationship for a full year with someone that she had met online-ish in a non-conventional way, and
mm-hmm.
how a whole year only to find out this man is a married. Married. All right. So Danielle,
Mm-hmm.
all right, pick back up. You were telling us how this all blew up and how he came out with it. Let's go.
Yes. So basically, he ended up coming out with it because I kept asking questions, and it's almost like he realized he was like he couldn't come up with enough lies to, and so he just finally just went and said it. But here's the kicker. He said that and then said, so if you can just like give me like hold on a little bit, and because I'm gonna leave her and I'm gonna like move in, I'm already like sleeping on the couch, so I'm gonna move to like my own place, so just back off like for a minute, okay? Like I'm gonna get this under control and then we'll be fine. I said, oh, not me.
Right.
I'm not
Right.
waiting in no wings. You lied that no, I don't do married men.
Wow. So he went there. He decided to go
Mhm.
with the all right, just hold on. I'm going to leave my wife. Oh my gosh. If that is not classic
Is it
Lifetime,
not so classic?
yes, that is Lifetime movie kind of no, there's no way. Okay, so he's asking you to hold on until he leaves his wife.
Hmm.
Wow. So
It's amazing how many men are okay with that. Like I've discovered that a lot on my dating journey, that you'll find people that are kind of like, well, I haven't quite left, but I'm about to leave. Okay, well, I'm not talking to you.
right, exactly. And that's interesting because when we think about being catfish, a lot of times people will, we talk about again how we see it on the TV show. We see
Hmm.
how people meet someone online, they never see their face, or they go by
Right.
pictures, and then they never want to meet. But this guy was, I mean, like trips were planned, like he knew you were
Hmm.
coming to visit him in his state, and he allowed that to go on. And
Hmm.
it's interesting because I have met people online. Again, navigating these single streets, I have done some online dating.
Yes.
No, Sandra has
Yes,
done some
me
online
too.
dating. And it's amazing to me how many guys are not serious. And I'm not just saying guys, okay? Let me reframe this
Hmm.
because I don't ever want this to seem like this is one sided because females
Oh, right.
do this
Yeah.
absolutely as well. But I've
Hmm.
never seen so many people that are okay with spending their time to create a fake profile or to lie and
Hmm.
come up with all these stories that they have to try to match and then
Mhm.
like be that person. I mean,
Mhm.
do they think they can keep that up? Who can keep that up? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know.
uh, and then he
It's
had a whole
impossible.
life.
And yes, and it's like I don't know because I mean I've had all varieties. I mean I've also had the one where he canceled on me 3 times, local person would never meet, and I'm like, you must not be who this picture is then, because like why have you
Right,
canceled on me 3 times? So it's like I've had all varieties, but this was so shocking because it was just like not only did you like leave this on, but now you think, oh, well, since we clicked so well, you're going to wait for me and let me get my situation together. And it's like, no, like that. I didn't agree
right,
to that. I didn't sign up for that, you know?
right. And I think that's where we have to be ever so careful, because
Mm
right when you get to that space, I mean, you made a great choice to choose yourself and
hmm.
say,
Mm
I am not going to fall into that trap. But so many times that we, not men, women, are out there and they find themselves in this scenario and they're like, I've invested a year.
hmm.
Maybe
Mm
there's a reason why he held on to me for a year. And maybe, I am overthinking this. Maybe he really does want to be with me. Maybe I will
hmm.
believe these beautiful lies that he's telling me. But
Yes.
when it's all said and done, choosing you does not look like saying, oh, I'm going to stay in the situation. It's all about saying, this is not for me. I am not going to
Mm
this. Like, I'm
hmm. Right.
better than, and
Mm
even
hmm.
though it felt good for this year, all the good things you said, all the pleasantries we
Mm
exchanged,
hmm.
all of the attentiveness that we thought,
Mm hmm.
it's really not right. And we have to be able to say, yeah, I'm better than that. I don't want that life for
Yep.
myself. And
Mm
that's a tough situation for men and females.
hmm.
We
Mm
probably
hmm.
admit it more because we're
Yeah.
more emotional beings. So we'll
Yes.
say, okay, yeah, this happened to me. But I believe it happens just as much to men all the time.
Yes.
I think about on the movie Friday when we think about when old girl pulled up talking about she looked like Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
Um
Mm.
and he was like
Yeah.
Smokey said no, more like Freddie Jackson,
Right.
but
And that's happened on Love is Blind too, the show Love is Blind, where
Mhm.
they'll like meet and then they'll be like, you said you look like there was this one girl that said she
Right.
looked like Megan Fox. And he was like,
Mm,
like,
right.
not so
Exactly.
sure.
Right. But we are a society that's so unhappy with ourselves. You know,
Right, right.
we feel like someone else is better than us. And so we want to look a
Mm-hmm.
certain way
Mm-hmm.
so that we are liked instead of just, hey, this is what I have.
Yeah.
This is all I got. This is me.
Yes.
So you either love it or you leave it. And
Yes.
even when it's hard, um,
Mm-hmm.
being able to say that, you know, this is all I have to offer. This is me.
Yes.
Whether you got to take it or leave it. That's tough
Yes.
for us.
It
Um,
is tough for us, very much so. And I can't say that I'm perfect either. Ladies,
right.
listen, I started to get the, you know, starting to wonder, because even when I would get FaceTimes, he would be at someone's wedding and I would get a FaceTime, or he would be, you see what I'm saying? And
Wow.
it's like I started to get my suspicions, but like you said, I was like, you know what? This is like he's the one of the nicest men I've ever met. And
Right.
y'all know men can be kind of grumpy. Like he was a nice one, okay?
Yeah.
So I was like, this is my type of energy that I like. Maybe I'm just being paranoid. We talk ourselves out of it
Right.
because, like you were saying, so I definitely did that too. I mean, I'm thankful that I chose myself in the end and I finally was able to put my foot down. But I definitely had kind of those moments where I had started to kind of wonder, but I was like, no, no, like I tried to talk myself out of it. So we
Right.
all do it, ladies. We all do it.
Absolutely. We do talk ourselves off the ledge when we
Hmm.
probably need to stay on that ledge and jump far away. We need to
Yeah.
jump. So
Hmm.
so let me ask this.
Hmm.
what effects would you say, short term, long term, did this have on you, this whole situation? Because that's a year of your time.
Hmm.
You just wasted a whole year of
Well,
your
yeah, that's a very long time. So I definitely had that thought. I was like, this is a whole dang year. I'm very upset.
time. Hmm.
And it was also the first person I connected with coming out of my divorce.
Wow.
Now, it wasn't the first person that I dated, wasn't the first person I liked, but it was the first person that took the time to return that and actually talk to me every single day, like clockwork. And,
Wow.
it was the first time I felt like I was like in a relationship again, kind of. And so that really it hurt me a lot. So it took me back to kind of some things that I had been, that I'd kind of grown past a little bit, like when you first get divorced and you kind of have to,
Yeah.
be by yourself. And it kind of just zapped me back. I felt like it took me
Right.
back to square one because I was just like, oh, you're great. You're a liar. And
Right.
I think one of the long-term effects has been that I'm very suspicious. And unfortunately, that's not the greatest quality because sometimes like I feel like I've lost, well, I don't want to say that, but in a way sometimes I feel like I lost situations just because like I was asking too many questions too soon, and
Mm,
that can be like a turn off for people. But it's like I can't help it. Like I'm like, this is not about to happen to me again. So it's
right.
like I can't, like it's like I can't help it. So I think that that's one of the long-term effects for sure. Short-term was definitely just like very hurt feelings. I was really sad. I was like, I just felt very mad at myself. I was beating myself up about it. And so, you get in your little rut like any other breakup kind of thing. And I would say that was definitely short-term. But long-term, it has impacted my ability to online date. Now, some people are like, why are you even online dating anyway? Well, guys, if you're not out in these streets, I'm 39 and I don't necessarily want to date somebody I work with. Haven't really met anyone at church like that. Like, it's like, where am I supposed to meet people at? I mean, if we have these apps and this technology, as long as you're willing to come off the app, I'm fine with meeting you there. I'm not fine with staying there. I'm fine with meeting you there.
Right.
So,
And it's
you
not a
know,
bad thing. I think sometimes because we've had a negative experience or two, we
mhm,
would say, "Oh man, online dating is horrible," or these dating streets are are horrible. But that was a bad experience. That was a
mhm,
person that did a bad thing. It
yeah,
doesn't mean that everyone is like that. There are some
mhm.
other people. I have to believe that online there are some other people that are honest, because I'm being
Yes,
honest.
because I am
Right,
exactly.
right. There's got to be someone out there that's doing that. And you hear enough
Mhm,
people complain about people not being honest that you're
mhm.
thinking there's got to be some honest people on there.
Yeah.
So being able to separate and say, this was that situation, this is not something that occurs,
Mhm,
for everyone, but this was my situation. It was a bad
mhm.
situation. And
Yes.
and that's what we have to keep in mind. Like,
Mhm.
everybody's not bad. Everyone's not out there pretending to be someone else, but
Right.
there are some, and
Yeah, and like you said earlier, you just have to be careful.
you
You
have.
have That's like the biggest thing, is to be careful. And some people actually have told me my approach is not careful. Like how I want to meet you like fast. I have been told by some people that that's not safe. And I'm like, I disagree. I
I
feel like if I need to maybe I need to see if you are safe. Shoot. Like I need to see,
Right,
like I need to see, like I need to get off this app and I need to see
right,
you in a real scenario in real life. And I
yes,
need to, I need to see that you exist, and we have to see, if it would be just like if you met somebody at a coffee shop or if you met somebody
yes,
somewhere, it's the same idea if somebody asks for your number out. I feel
right.
like it's like the same thing.
Right, because you want to meet someone and you don't want to wait for that. I mean, I'm big on that
Hmm.
too. Like, if we meet online and you're not talking about when we're going to see each other soon,
Hmm.
like that's almost a red flag for me. Because yeah, we can get to
Yes.
talking and all of this, but we can say a whole lot of things online, on a phone, or message each other. But
Hmm.
I need to see that. Yes, and you're right. Meet in a public place. So, you're not coming to my place, or I'm not coming to your place, but
Right.
we are going to meet,
Right.
because I need to at least see. And And a FaceTime is one thing, but you had a whole experience there. You did FaceTime this person,
Yes.
but wifey was
Right.
at home. So
It
FaceTime is
can
not good
still
enough.
happen, right? It's like
Right?
face, right? And I would have thought, like, sometimes we think FaceTime is good enough, but it's like, I mean, and unfortunately,
It's hard.
people can hide things,
Right. Right.
people can hide. It's easy. Even if you meet a real person, they can be lying to you.
Yes.
So it's like,
Absolutely.
that's not, the thing. And the good thing about this though, like you were saying, the effects, of course, there
Yeah.
were negative effects. However, this did not make me quit online dating. You know,
Good.
it
Good.
very well could have. It very well could have. But I'm like, no, like I'm gonna believe, like you said, that there's someone else that's honest like me, and I'm just gonna keep trying. And I have had, some good experiences. It hasn't materialized into anything yet, but it hasn't all been bad. It hasn't all been bad at all.
And that's one of the things that I always want to say. I would love to be a takeaway for people that it's not all
Mm-hmm.
bad. Every experience that
Mm-hmm.
you have has its benefits. Whether that
Mm-hmm.
is I've learned some things, I have learned
Mm-hmm.
who I can connect with, who I can't connect with.
Mm-hmm.
I've also learned like just how to carry myself in that situation. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what we have to think about. Like, did I get some better tips? That am I going to sharpen my toolbox from this experience?
Mm-hmm.
In any experience that
Yes.
I've had, I would say that has been it. I've sharpened my toolbox. Like,
Yes.
but I'm not gonna stop dating because I'm still trying to have a bae. I'm still trying to be married in these streets. Okay, so
I mean,
what's the
and I'm
alternative?
glad you said the thing about sharpening your toolbox, because one of the things that came out of this for me was that I am a very trusting person in general. Like I've always been like the naive friend, or like the gullible
Right.
friend, or like that's always been me. And so one of the things that I was like, okay, like in this season, Danielle, like you're gonna have to be less trusting, and you're going to have to at least, you can't let people in as fast as you do. Like I realize I let people in fast. And
Yeah.
it's like you have to still, there are things you can wait for someone to show you before you really allow them in. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that's important, is just to know that, and when you're meeting these people, you don't really know them fully, all that. So just don't let them in so fast. Like don't put your whole guard down just because y'all had everything in common for 4 hours. Like, you know what
Right,
I mean?
exactly. And I think we're all guilty of that because we
Hmm.
desire that feeling of connection. We desire
Yes.
so bad to meet that person. We're gonna stop real quick and time out for a quick. This is a real quick commercial break, real quick, and come right on back. All right, and we are back. Okay, so we're just talking about the experience of being catfished and understanding that there's not always all negative that comes out of that. All right, and we want to make sure that we not just emphasize that these bad things can happen, but so many good things can happen. We want to be able
Hmm.
to know and see those flags, but yet
Hmm.
not put our guard up so high that we
Hmm.
miss out on what could be something beautiful. Danielle was
Right.
just sharing, yeah, Danielle was sharing with us her experience of being catfished and with a man, to find out she was with him for a year, to find out he was married, and from there, just kind of how her growth has been from there. Not giving up
Hmm.
on that life, but the dating life, but just learning those lessons and moving on. Okay,
Hmm.
so let's kind of pick back up from there and
Hmm.
again, those positive things that come
Hmm.
out of the situation. Okay. Like, and you were telling us a little bit about just, you didn't quit. So
Hmm.
just kind of pick up
Yeah.
from there, you know,
Yeah, I didn't quit. I have just continued to I've continued to just try, just kind of put myself out there. I'll reach out, and when people reach back, I saw somebody commented and said, God's discernment, that is a big one. I am a believer in Christ. I do have a relationship with God. And I think that's another part of it. I feel like my relationship with God was a little bit wounded when I got divorced, because that is
Mm,
just not what I thought was going to happen to me. And I think my relationship with God was wounded. And then that led to me not being as dialed in with that discernment as I could have been. So I feel like that is definitely a piece as well. I most definitely pray more. I've gotten to a much better place with my walk with God. And I think that that is something I lean on now as well too. But like, I just really, just kind of have to look for those kind of vibes. I am less inclined to try like long distance, but I even am still not
okay.
anti that either. I mean, shoot, I might sit by you on the plane. You might be my blessing. Like, I'm not about to be like,
Right?
no, I'm not going to talk to you because you don't live by me. I'm not
Right.
missing my blessing over that. So I'm glad that I'm just naturally a bubbly, talkative,
Yeah.
fun, energetic kind of person. So I'm glad that I still have that, and that I'm still able to, put myself out there and have fun.
And that's a big thing, being able to recover from it and not recover in a
Hmm.
bitter way. I
Right.
I think we all have experience in some way, and I can tell you myself, you know I said earlier, I have gotten on the online dating scene, and
Hmm.
I have met some people, and honestly, the majority of the people I have met are good people. We just weren't a match.
Yeah, we
Okay.
just weren't a match. Yep.
Right. And that's cool because, some of them, I've met some really good friends. We
Yeah.
become really
Yeah. I
good
was
friends.
gonna say that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you become good friends.
Yeah.
But ultimately, of course, I'm looking for someone, that long-term relationship that's going to turn into
Hmm.
my husband. Okay. I'm looking for a husband. So, so but I've had situations where someone is completely not who they say they are, or their picture, and you're sitting there looking at your phone when you meet them in the first time, you're like, wait, because you're like, this is
Yes.
not right. Was that picture from 1997, or was that picture
Exactly.
from
You know, I'm even mindful of that myself. I'll be honest,
right,
like when I'm putting my own pictures on there, I'm like, look, they
right,
about to see what they gonna get. I'm not trying to trick nobody. I'm not
right,
trying. Look, you gonna see. This is what you're gonna get. So I'm even particular about the pictures that I post. I try to make them as recent as possible,
absolutely.
just because I want to approach it from that angle myself.
Oh
Because
yeah,
I've run into that a lot, where it's like, that might be from your glory days, but it's okay.
right. And,
Because
and granted,
it's we're older, so
yeah, and granted, I'm
yeah,
gonna put my best foot forward. I may do that, but you're gonna
yeah.
see all the different hairstyles. You're gonna see all these
Hmm.
different things. 'Cause,
Yep, I
maybe you
have
don't
both
like braids,
straight and
right?
curly. I think I
Exactly.
might even have straight, curly, and braids on mine.
All of that, right? Because I need you to know
Yep.
all these different things, that how I look, because this is
Hmm.
me, and then
Hmm.
I'm going to tell you
Exactly.
those things. I'm going to tell you that, I'm a Christian and I love God, and that
Hmm.
I want a man in my life that has a relationship with God. I'm going to tell you
Yes.
that I will tell you the other sides of things, like I've got two grown children, but they don't live with me, and and they're living their own life. I'm also going to
Hmm.
tell you, hey, I'm a businesswoman. I got business, but I will make time for those people who are truly vested in something that they want out of me, and not just
Yeah.
physically, but they really want
Hmm.
to build something with me. I will make all the time in the world for that person if that's what they want
Yes.
to do. But and that I love to travel, because if you don't love to
Hmm.
travel like I do, I mean, this is not it. But to have
Yes,
someone get
most
on there
definitely.
and compliment all of those things, and then when you
Hmm.
see them in real life, they're like, "Oh, I don't do that," or "I don't do this." I'm like, "You are wasting my time," you know,
Yes.
and don't do that, because I may like that person. So and just to share I most recently, um, and recent-ish, I should say, recent-ish, had met someone, and went out with them, was vibing with them, but they had all these things that they like to do that they told me that they like to
Mm-hmm.
do. And then when I said, okay, let's go do this, they were like, oh, yeah, I'm kind of a homebody. First of all, you're wasting my time because
Right.
nothing you read about me said homebody. Nothing you read about me
And see,
said.
that is important. I'm glad you said that because another aspect of Catfish that I don't think people realize is that these profiles are there for a reason. You're not speaking, you are not there. This
Yes,
profile is for people to decide are they going to click like or not. So it is important to read because I actually came across someone that was like, people don't read because they were looking for a third person and they kept getting mad because
wow.
people were mad at that because they weren't reading. And I'm like,
Right.
now
It's
I
like,
read, and when I do that, I see that, and I'm like, oh no, thank you, and I just
right.
move on from that. And also, I see like I lead with the fact that I'm a single mom of two young children because
Yes.
I've had it to where people are like, well, come over or let's go out to eat, and I'm like, well, I
Who
can't, I have my
babysit?
kids. Oh
Who
well, why
babysit?
why not? I don't understand. So I'm kind of like I lead with that because I'm like, I can't jump when you say jump. Number one, I don't do that in no way. But
Right.
number two, I have little kids that have to come first. And so not everybody's cool with that. But if you read my profile, you won't even hit like if you're not cool with that.
Absolutely. And those are the things that we want. It's all about being your true authentic self. And
Hmm.
I can say for me, no matter what has occurred or how people have treated me or have put on a facade with me, I am
Hmm.
determined to make sure that I show up as my authentic self every time. And I still
Yes.
do it. I don't lose
Yeah.
my faith. And I want all of the
Right.
single men and women out there, don't lose your faith in dating
That's right.
or in people because of what a person has done.
Did.
You
Hmm.
know, there are people out there, they're just dishonest people. And if they're dishonest in
Yes.
any other facet of their life, the dating realm is not going to be different. They're typically
Hmm.
very sad or unsatisfied, unfulfilled people who
Hmm.
want something that they can't have. So they've built this
Hmm.
whole facade of who they are. They built this whole character and hoping someone falls in love with that character. But the disconnect
Hmm.
is now I haven't fallen for you. And when the real you
Right.
comes out, that's not what I want.
Right.
So my goal is to help others just to understand, don't stop showing up as your own authentic self, no matter what.
Right.
Okay.
No matter
Don't
what. And I think an automatic, if you've been through a catfish experience, I think that's almost like an automatic stance because it's like you don't want someone else to go through what you went through. So I'm not going to be the one to put something that is not authentic. I'm not going to be the one to not be myself. If I'm wanting other people to be themselves, I'm going to be myself. And I think that like it's important to just like some people, some of the stuff that I lead with, people are like, don't lead with that. Like one of the things I lead with is that I can't have any more kids. You would be surprised at the number of 40-year-old men I've met that are like, well,
that
yeah, now I'm ready to go ahead and have some kids. Well, sorry, it won't be from me.
right. It won't be.
Like, so, and one
You're
of my
so
friends was
right.
like, you need to stop leading with that. Like, you shouldn't lead with that. Why
I
not? That is
disagree. I
something that's
mean,
very important
and that's why they put
because
it
I
on the
didn't know this many
profile.
people my age wanted kids still. Like, I didn't realize that.
They put that on the profiles for a reason, because for me,
Hmm.
I know that I would keep scrolling. Soon as I see, want some more, I'm like, oh, well, I can't help you, baby. I can't have kids.
Yeah.
I can't. Not that I would. Well, I have a 26 and a 22-year-old.
Oh,
You would have to put me in a straitjacket talking about starting over. And I know people do
no
it
oops,
too, but I'm
baby.
not the one or the two. Nope. No, I would not be starting over. But it also it's a part of that's a part of transparency. Say,
Hmm.
don't get involved with me if you know that that's not what I can provide for you.
Yeah.
And I don't care how fine they are, because I've seen it. I'm like, God, he fine. He got all the great qualities. And I'm like, but talk about wants children. I'm like, them swipes. Like, you know, you get all the things because but that won't work for me, you know. So I'm
Mm-mm.
realistic in that, and I wish people would be more realistic because at the worst case scenario is you stumble upon the one that actually likes you for you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that they can like you for you. So I
Yeah.
love the fact that out of all the negative experiences I could have had or did have,
Mm-hmm.
I still know that I am going to be who I am regardless. I'm not going to stop being who I am.
Regardless.
I'm not going to change that. I'm going to keep being who I am. So yeah,
Absolutely.
it's refreshing to know. I'm so glad that you were able to recover because there's so many people who
Mm-hmm.
don't recover from situations like you had, you know, especially
Yes.
like you said, investing a whole year's worth of time, 300, at least
Mm-hmm.
365 days of your
Right.
life. But then
Telling you.
yeah, you have to flip it to the other side. That was 1 year out of my maybe
Mm-hmm.
80, 90 years that I have in my life.
Yeah.
I still got a lot more life left in me. And I don't want,
Absolutely.
yeah, and I don't want to write off dating for an experience that lasted this amount of time and I've got this much life. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that you were able to come out of this on top. So, with that
Yeah.
being
Me
said, do you
too.
have any, right? You have any final words for the people today?
I would just say, if you are going to do online dating, just have kind of some rules in place, have some boundaries, but also just like some non-negotiables, like have some rules in place and stick to them. Trust your gut. There's nothing wrong with if you meet somebody for the first time, have a friend somewhere in there. They don't know your friend. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. So, it's something that can be done. It can be done. It's just about being like you said, your true authentic self.
Wow. Thank you so much, Danielle, for joining us today. Like,
Thanks for
thank
having
you for,
me.
yes, thank you for being transparent and sharing your experience with us
Mhm.
because there are other people that go through it, but they don't want to share it and they think they're alone
Yeah.
and they're depressed and they're down. I think about the people that are at home, you know, they're crying their eyes out
Hmm.
because of a similar
Yeah.
situation, thinking they're the only ones or they feel foolish. But these things happen to
Hmm.
a lot of people, a lot more.
They
They happen
sure
to men,
do.
they happen to women, and thank you for being transparent with us. So
Absolutely. I'm happy to share my story. I'm a very open book about a lot of things. And
yeah,
especially with being a single mother dating, that's just a whole other world. Like you said, I just don't, want people to think you're alone or that these things don't
right.
happen. And I know those of us with little kids as trying to date have all other things. And I know you have upcoming episodes on that because so make sure y'all check that out
Yes,
because
indeed.
I know I will be tuned in
Right.
to that because that's a whole other thing. But I think, just don't sell yourself short. Don't block your blessing by, just not being willing to put yourself out there and be willing, have the faith that there are other good people in the world.
Thank you so much for that, Danielle. All right. Thank
You're
you for joining us
welcome.
today. All right. All right. So we're about to close. And this was a great episode today, guys. Thank you all for joining us as we talked about catfish tales, y'all. We're talking about when people are selling themselves as something else and they are not who they say they are. But there's still life after that, and we're grateful for that. Thank you for those who engaged with us online. All right, I saw some comments we were able to flash up on the screen. And I hope that each week, as we come back with a new episode, that you're able to engage with us, ask us questions, ask my guests questions, about their experiences as they're here to share with you. And so we can navigate these dating streets together. So, what's coming up? Of course, we want to know what is coming up. Next week, we have two guests that are coming in, And the show is called Blocked or Unblocked. And it's really talking about those preferences and non-negotiables. Okay, preferences versus non-negotiables, because those are two different things. And just talking about how important that is to have that in your dating life. So, do I block you already because something you said was just like, or something you did was a pet peeve of mine and we're done with you? Or is it something where we can work through it because it's a preference, but not a non-negotiable? Because non-negotiables is just that. So we have some guests that are going to come in and talk about their experiences with that, as well as share some wisdom and share some love where that's concerned. But as I'm closing today, I just want to kind of bring this all together. We had a guest on it today that talked about her experience being catfished. And she talked about how a whole married man drug this on for a whole year. Guys, this is not a male or a female thing. All right. It is something that happens to good people all the time. And the only way that we can combat that is by truly being our authentic self in spite of. Okay. We can't allow someone else's behavior to shape how we are with others, how we treat others, how we regard others, or just have us stop dating. It's hard out here in these single streets. I hear people say all the time, the dating pool is tainted. People have peed in the dating pool. And I'm just like, no, somebody peed in that person's cereal, not in the whole pool, okay? Because there are some good people out there. I have to believe that if I'm a good person, there's another good person out there. That if I'm being honest, there's another honest person out there. So don't allow a negative situation to determine how you're going to treat your dating life. And also, don't be afraid to share your story and talk to others about it. This is where we want to bring in other people into our situation. You're like, and I know we've grown up in a society where they say, don't tell others your business. Don't tell everything that's going on. But so many times you have to share what's going on with you so that others feel inspired or others don't feel alone. And it's hard out here. We're looking for companionship. We're wanting that companionship. We don't have that person to share that with, but we have to be able to share that. And I love the comment, just you have to put good thoughts in the atmosphere. Absolutely. If you don't put those good thoughts in the atmosphere, other people may miss something that they need. I am a thorough believer that our purpose is tied up to someone else. It is intertwined with someone else living out their purpose. So if we don't do what we're called to do and we don't share our story, we could be hindering somebody else. So I love that you all have joined in today with So Free and Single with Z podcast. You all have seen the So Free with Z for the longest. It's part of my travel and things that I do to show the freedom in my life and living while I'm living. But a part of that life is being single. And I'm glad to be here on this platform to be able to share that with others so that they know you're not alone in these single streets. We're going to navigate this together. We're going to laugh about it together. We may even cry about it together sometime, but we live to be back out in these streets again. So thank you all for joining in today. I can't wait to see you all next week on our episode talking about our non-negotiables versus our preferences, blocked or unblocked. We'll see you next week. Thanks again for joining in. See y'all.